You have one of those little. What is your first name?
Debbie,
And where do you live?
Overland Park, Kansas.
Okay. And tell me about your experience with heart disease. Do you have something personal?
I do have, I'm actually a survivor. 2013, I was actually in a production at my church on stage and started having really bad chest pains. Kind of went through the whole night that way, and decided that I needed a little fresh air, so I kind of removed myself and decided I was going to go home and go to bed. And so my friend said, no, you need to go to the hospital. So I actually started getting ill, and so she carted me here to St. Luke's, and actually had heart failure. And it was caused by a very rare syndrome, which is called Takamatsubo syndrome, which is a Japanese term, where a rush of adrenaline attacks your heart and balloons out your left ventricle and puts you into heart failure.
When you're driving to the hospital, was that even crossing your mind?
No.
I'm having a heart attack. I'm having heart failure.
Well, no, not at all, because I thought I was just having, a bad day, had a lot of stress, because I had palpitations before. I've had high blood pressure for years, which has been controlled. And so from time to time, I would just have a little palpitation. So I thought, well, this is just, I'm tired. I've been going crazy, stressful at work, stressful during the production time. I just needed to go home and rest. And so, be honest with you, when he said I had heart failure, you could have knocked me out with a feather. I said, you got to be kidding, not me, But yeah, so I did, and unfortunately spent 4 days in an ICU. But it was reversible, which is wonderful, but it took some time for the ventricle to come back to normal shape.
Did you have surgery?
No, I did not have to have surgery, not at all. It's because the heart's a muscle, and so when it's stunned, it doesn't pump. So, of course, when I was in ICU, they had to keep everything kind of flowing and going. But it kind of comes back. It's like going to the dentist and you have your tooth numbed, and all of a sudden, after the Novocaine starts wearing off, you start feeling it. And that's kind of how it was. It's like after a few weeks, it started going. And it actually took 6 months for it to come back to normal. So, I actually I'm still on medication to make sure that doesn't happen again.
So other than just the medication, how has that changed your life? What is different about your everyday routine?
Well, you never take any day for granted, that's for sure. I've actually, I joined the gym and cut down on the salt and because it was such a weird syndrome, I've actually become an ambassador for Go Red, and because nobody's heard about it, and a lot of women might have gone home and gone to bed and never woke up. And so I'm trying to be an advocate for this because it's just different than having, a real heart attack. And so I want to be an advocate for that.
If your friend hadn't told you to go to the emergency room, do you think you would have gone?
No. No, she was a nurse. And so she said, you're going. I said, no, I'm going home and go to bed.
What about your family? How has this affected them? Did they all get checked out, or has this just made you more aware of heart health?
Well, it's made us more aware of heart health, but my husband has high blood pressure too, so he's on a pill too. So we religiously get our yearly checkup. Like I said, my cooking, I've cut down on salt for sure, Now my husband eats more pepper, but there you go. But yeah, we just kind of changed our diet, changed how we do things. And then a year and a half ago, in March, I had a really bad bacterial infection. I had sepsis and almost died. Spent 28 days here in this hospital, but I woke up on March 18th, and I couldn't see. I didn't know who it was or where it was. I'd had 5 mini strokes that had affected my occipitals, and so from the bacterial infection. So when I finally woke up from that, I could not move my right arm. So the stroke had affected my right arm, and so I had to go through tons of physical therapy so to get back to normal again, to where I can do this again. So between the heart failure and the stroke, it's just really made me more aware of my life. Something could happen tomorrow. You could be killed in a car accident, or you could die of heart attack, heart failure, or stroke at any time. So, do as much as you can by eating and exercising and doing the right things.
And I find that a lot of women don't realize that heart attack and stroke, that they are the number 1 and number 3 killer of women. Now that you've gone through both,
right? How
has that changed? Just like you said, you're an ambassador, but
right.
What other things do you do just to help the women in your life be aware?
I'm constantly trying to talk to people about it. I feel like I've been spared for a reason. And every time I do business development for my husband, so I'm with people networking constantly. And so I always try to come around a roundabout way of saying what happened to me and say, always be aware. You don't take anything for granted. That pain in here or that feel like you got heartburn, that could be something that's totally different. Don't ignore it. So definitely an advocate. I'm Debbie Davis, and I go red for women. I want to uncover the truth about heart disease because my life depends on it. My family is why.